while your neighbors are throwing out spoiled groceries worth $400 after the next power outage. You can grill fresh steaks and pour cold beer as if nothing happened. Let's figure out how to make this a reality. In this video, I will tell you about a complete solution that helps keep your products frozen during long power outages. We will discuss the main mistakes that cause people to lose thousands of dollars and examine a kit costing $250 that can operate for months without a drop of gasoline or connection to the power grid. If you are ready to stop losing money due to spoiled food during outages, and let's get started. Most people approach the issue of backup cooling completely incorrectly, which costs them dearly. Advice that can be heard everywhere, even from so-called experts, is not only ineffective, but also dangerous. The first issue is with the car battery. The most popular advice circulating on YouTube and among preppers is to use a car battery with an inverter to power the refrigerator for just a few hours a day. This seems reasonable until you realize it's one of the fastest ways to ruin your car when you need it the most. Your car is critically important in emergencies. You may need evacuation, medical assistance, or access to supplies. But when you use your vehicle as a power source, you create a huge load on the generator and electrical system. These components are not designed for continuous operation at high power. Here is what actually happens in your engine when you try to do this. Your generator is designed to maintain the charge of an already charged battery, not to continuously deliver over 100 amps to a large inverter. It's like asking a marathon runner to sprint. They can run a few miles, but the generator will quickly fail. I personally saw how 3 different families learned this truth through their own experience during prolonged power outages. Faulty generators, burnt-out voltage regulators, and completely drained batteries that couldn't start the engine. When they needed to evacuate or receive emergency medical assistance, their cars became useless pieces of metal. Think about it. What is more important to you? A functional car that can get you out of danger, or a non-working car after a couple of hours of cooling? In a real emergency, this choice becomes crystal clear. Your generator turns into a very expensive paperweight, and you remain stationary when mobility is most important. Secondly, there is the reality of generator fuel. Then there are generator enthusiasts. Just run the generator for a few hours a day to power your refrigerator. Of course, if you enjoy letting everyone around know that you have electricity, fuel, and probably food, while others do not. But let's talk about the practical side of running refrigerators from generators. A typical portable generator consumes about 1 gallon of gasoline every 6 to 8 hours under load. To ensure the refrigerator operates normally, you will need to run the generator for at least 4 to 6 hours a day. It's almost a gallon of fuel daily, which amounts to 30 gallons during a month of power outage. Where exactly will you safely store 30 gallons of gasoline? How will you replenish your fuel supplies when gas stations are closed and supply chains are disrupted? And what will happen when this fuel spoils after a few months of storage? Logistics become a real nightmare, and this is even before we discuss the safety risks associated with what you tell others about your level of preparedness. Now about the temperature danger. Even if you are willing to risk your transport, there is another major problem with the cyclical operation of the refrigerator. Food safety rules are absolutely clear. Perishable foods enter the danger zone when the temperature exceeds 40 degrees Fahrenheit. In this range, harmful bacteria double every 20 minutes. Every time you turn the refrigerator on and off, the internal temperature fluctuates, spending dangerous time in this bacteria-friendly environment. This is what really happens to your food during these temperature fluctuations. Salmonella, E. coli, and Listeria not only survive in the danger zone, they thrive and multiply exponentially. Your dear organic chicken does not just heat up and cool down harmlessly. It becomes a breeding ground for bacteria that can send your family to the hospital. The U.S. Department of Agriculture clearly states this. Any perishable product that spends more than 2 hours in the danger zone must be discarded. When you turn the power on and off for several days, you accumulate hours in this dangerous temperature zone. Your freezer faces a similar problem, but even worse. Each time the power goes out, the frozen food begins to thaw on the outside. When the power is restored, they freeze again, but cellular damage has already occurred. This cycle of freezing and thawing destroys cell walls, creates mushy textures, and creates ideal conditions for bacterial growth. After just 3 or 4 cycles, these $15 ribeye steaks will not only become unappealing, but could actually send your family to the emergency room. And good luck finding medical help during a widespread disaster when hospitals are overcrowded. Now let's talk about the mathematics that never works. Here is the harsh reality that no one talks about. The energy requirements never work in your favor when you try to power a full refrigerator with backup systems. An ordinary refrigerator consumes between 3 to 4,000 watt-hours a day. In battery terms, this is roughly 400 amp-hours from a 12-volt system. A standard deep cycle battery provides about 100 amp-hours when brand new. And this is under ideal conditions, which never exist in emergencies. You will need 4 huge batteries to run the refrigerator for at least 1 day. And this is assuming perfect efficiency, which never happens in the real world. Considering the energy losses of inverters, which usually range from 10 to 15%, as well as the impact of temperature on battery performance, it becomes clear that in cold weather, batteries lose up to 20% of their capacity. Moreover, lead-acid batteries cannot be fully discharged, otherwise they will fail. As a result, to safely power the refrigerator for 24 hours, 6 or 7 deep-cycle batteries may be needed. With each battery costing between $200 and $300, we're talking about investments over $1,500 just for 1 day's power, and these batteries weigh between 60 and 70 pounds each. Thus, a loader will be needed to move your portable energy system. Even with a generator, the situation does not improve. You will have to run it for several hours a day to maintain the work cycles. Generators are loud. The noise level ranges from 65 to 75 decibels, equivalent to a vacuum cleaner running in your yard for several hours. They consume fuel that must be stored safely. Moreover, the working generator attracts the attention of the neighbors, as it signifies that you have energy while they do not. From a safety perspective, this creates unnecessary attention in an already tense situation. When people are desperate, hungry, and freezing, the last thing you want is to show your willingness when others cannot afford it. The calculations just don't add up when you try to make backup systems power devices they were never designed to operate. It's like trying to power a home with batteries. Technically possible, but utterly impractical. Here, most people give up and resign themselves to eating canned beans during outages. They think their only options are to power the main refrigerator or abandon refrigeration altogether. This is completely wrong. A breakthrough solution actually contradicts intuition. You need to think on a smaller scale to achieve significantly better results. Instead of trying to power your energy-consuming full-size refrigerator, invest in a compact freezer and mini fridge specifically designed for backup power. It's not about compromising on food storage, but about wisely managing your energy budget to achieve real results in the real world. Let me present figures that will change your perception of this situation. A 5 cubic foot freezer typically consumes only 218 kilowatt hours per year, which breaks down to about 600 watt hours per day. A mini refrigerator with a volume of 2.5 cubic feet adds 350 watt hours per day, consuming about 950 watt hours daily, which is less than a quarter of what a main refrigerator requires. This sharp reduction in energy consumption changes everything regarding backup system capabilities. But here is the key understanding that most people miss. Top-loading freezers are incredibly efficient because cold air doesn't escape when opened. Unlike vertical models, cold air sinks. So when you lift the lid, the cold stays inside. This basic physical principle means that your products stay cooler longer and the compressor doesn't have to work as hard. Many refrigerators, especially modern Energy Star-rated models, use advanced compressor technologies and better insulation compared to older designs. A smaller internal volume means less air is needed for cooling, and a reduced surface area decreases heat transfer through the walls. As a result, even a modest battery pack can keep your refrigerator running in emergencies for several days, instead of barely powering a large appliance for just a few hours. Everything changes when your electricity needs decrease by 75%. But here is the truly brilliant part that makes this investment obvious. These devices are not just waiting for emergencies. They become incredibly useful in everyday life right away. Use the freezer for bulk meat purchases when you find great deals. I am talking about buying a quarter of a cow when the price is $4 per pound, instead of paying $12 for individual steaks. Keep frozen vegetables, ice cream, frozen berries for smoothies, or pre-prepared meals for busy weeks. The mini fridge becomes your center for drinks, keeping them icy cold without constantly opening the main fridge. Use it to store supplies during holidays when your main fridge is full. It is designed for leftovers, so they do not get lost in the main refrigerator and spoil. Many families find that having extra refrigeration space actually transforms their shopping and cooking habits. You can buy meat in bulk when it's on sale, store more fresh produce without creating excess clutter, and reduce food waste by having the right storage space for everything. Here's a real example from my family. We save about $180 a month on groceries because we can take advantage of bulk sales and special offers on meat that is close to its expiration date. Instead of refusing these offers due to lack of storage, we can take them and freeze them immediately. This system pays for itself through better product management, even when the electricity is not cut off. When an emergency occurs, you have a clear action plan that works flawlessly. Within the first 30 minutes after the power goes out, you transfer your most valuable and perishable food from the main refrigerator and freezer to backup units. But this is not a chaotic process. You have already planned where to place everything. First, move the medications that require refrigeration: insulin, antibiotics, hormonal drugs. These are literally life-saving items that are hard to replace in an emergency. Then move the most expensive protein products, steaks, salmon fillets, and specialty items costing more than $15 per pound. After that, take dairy products, especially opened ones like milk and yogurt, which spoil quickly. Finally, transfer any leftovers or prepared dishes that would be costly to replace. Your backup system immediately begins to operate, maintaining safe temperatures without the stress of managing generators, calculating fuel consumption, or monitoring the car battery charge level. No temperature fluctuations, no danger zones for bacteria, no lottery with food safety. The psychological relief is immense. While your neighbors are in a panic preparing everything from the freezer or rushing for ice, you calmly continue your day, knowing that your food is completely safe. Now let's create an energy system that makes this possible. For basic support in an emergency situation, you will need surprisingly little equipment, and the setup will be incredibly simple. A battery with a capacity of 100 ampere-hours based on lithium iron phosphate will provide enough energy to operate both your mini fridge and freezer for about 24 hours. Connect this to a 600-watt inverter to convert the direct current from the battery into alternating current for your devices. But let's figure out why these numbers work so well. A battery with a capacity of 100 amp-hours at 12 volts provides you with 1,200 watt-hours of stored energy. Your combined devices use about 950 watt-hours a day, providing you with a comfortable safety margin, even accounting for inverter losses and battery protection circuits. The installation couldn't be easier. In normal times, your backup devices are plugged into regular outlets, like any other device. When the power goes out, you simply unplug them from the wall and connect them to the inverter system. No complicated wiring, no permanent installations, just a simple switch from one power source to another. You can set this up in literally 10 minutes with no experience in electrical engineering. Connect the battery to the inverter. Connect the inverter to the power strip. Done. Even a schoolboy can handle this setup. Lithium iron phosphate batteries are perfect for this task, and this is why chemistry matters for your emergency preparedness. First of all, they are incredibly safe. Unlike other lithium technologies that can catch fire or explode when damaged, LFP04 batteries are thermally stable and not prone to thermal runaway. You can literally drill into them, and they won't catch fire, although I do not recommend testing this in practice. Secondly, they can be discharged much deeper than lead-acid batteries without damage. Lead-acid batteries should not be discharged below 50% if you want them to last more than a few dozen cycles. LFP batteries can safely discharge up to 10% multiple times without damaging the cells. This means that a 100 amp-hour battery gives you about 90 usable amp-hours, while a lead-acid battery of the same capacity only provides 50 usable amp-hours before it starts to get damaged. You receive nearly double the effective capacity. Thirdly, they serve thousands of charging cycles. A quality LFP04 battery withstands 3,000 to 5,000 full charging cycles, retaining 80% of its original capacity. Lead-acid batteries barely survive 300 to 500 cycles under the same conditions. Calculate for yourself. If you use the system once a month for testing and during random outages, a lithium battery will last from 20 to 30 years. Lead-acid batteries need to be replaced every 2 to 3 years. The high initial cost of lithium-ion batteries pays off many times over. Not all inverters are the same, and choosing the wrong one can lead to serious problems with sensitive equipment like refrigerators and freezers. You absolutely need an inverter with a pure sine wave, not a modified sine wave. Refrigerator compressors use induction motors that can be damaged by the unstable power output of modified sine wave inverters. They will operate, but with overheating, inefficiency, and a reduced lifespan. Inverters with a pure sine wave provide clean electricity, identical to that from the grid. Your equipment will operate exactly as intended, with maximum efficiency and no risk of damage. The size of the inverter should be approximately 150% of your maximum load. Your mini fridge may consume 150 watts continuously and 400 watts when starting the compressor. Your freezer may consume 100 watts continuously and 300 watts when starting. A 600-800 watt inverter can handle this without problems, leaving a safety margin. Many choose portable power stations that combine a battery, inverter, and charge controller in one device. Companies like Bluetti, EcoFlow, and Goal Zero produce excellent devices specifically designed for such tasks. They cost more per watt hour than assembling your own system, usually 50 to 80 cents per watt hour compared to 30 to 40 cents for DIY systems, but they are incredibly convenient and require no technical knowledge to operate. Just connect your devices and monitor the charge level on the built-in display. Most of these devices have multiple AC outlets, USB ports, and even wireless charging pads. They are like a Swiss Army knife for backup power. The best part is that many portable power stations can be charged using the grid, solar panels, or simultaneously through your car's 12-volt output. This allows for faster device charging and provides greater flexibility during prolonged outages. After 24 hours of work, you will need to recharge the battery. Here you have several great options depending on your situation and resources. Solar panels are the most sustainable long-term solution, and the technology has improved significantly. Despite the drop in prices, a 100-watt solar panel can partially charge your battery on a sunny day, providing about 400 to 500 watt-hours of energy in optimal conditions. For reliable daily charging, you will really need solar power of 200 watts, which means 2 panels. This will give you enough energy to fully charge the battery every day, even under less than ideal conditions. Modern solar panels are incredibly durable and efficient. Monocrystalline panels typically provide 18 to 22% efficiency, meaning they convert this percentage of sunlight into electricity. Even on cloudy days, you will get 30 to 50% of the rated power. If solar panels are unsuitable due to shading, apartment living, or restrictions from the homeowners association, you have other options. A small generator with a power of 200 watts can fully charge a battery with a capacity of 100 ampere-hours in 3 to 4 hours using a suitable charger. This method consumes significantly less fuel than trying to run household appliances directly. For example, instead of 1 gallon of gasoline a day for direct use of devices, you will only need 1 gallon every 3 to 4 days. The noise from the generator is limited to a few hours of operation, not continuous operation. It is also possible to cautiously use a car generator to charge the battery. But it is important to use the correct charging equipment to avoid previously discussed issues. The DC-DC charger protects the car's electrical system while safely transferring energy. These chargers monitor the car battery voltage and only start supplying power when the engine is running and the generator produces excess power. If you run the engine for 30 to 45 minutes, you can safely add 30 to 40 amp-hours to the backup battery. For prolonged outages lasting more than a few days, a dual battery system is the optimal solution. This is the transition from basic readiness for emergencies to full, long-term resilience. Here's how it works. While one battery powers your devices, the other charges from solar panels, a generator, or another source. Every 24 hours, you switch the batteries. The new battery starts powering the devices, while the drained one goes for charging. This rotation allows the system to operate indefinitely, limited only by your ability to generate or store energy. Even with modest solar power, you can keep refrigerators running for weeks or months. I personally tested this system for 6 weeks straight, using only 300 watts of solar panels in winter with limited sunlight. The beauty of this approach lies in its incredible resilience. If one battery fails, you have a backup power source. If charging conditions are poor for a day or two, you have extra power to weather that period. If the solar panels are damaged, you can switch to charging from the generator or car without wasting time. Additionally, you evenly distribute wear between 2 batteries instead of heavily discharging one. This significantly extends the lifespan of both devices. Instead of a deep discharge of one battery every day, each discharges every other day, effectively doubling their lifespan. For those seeking maximum reliability and convenience, installing a permanent solar system is worth serious consideration. This will allow you to transition from emergency preparedness to complete energy independence for refrigeration needs. A typical setup includes 2 lithium batteries with a capacity of 100 amps, 3 solar panels rated at 100 watts each, a 40-amp charge controller to manage solar input, and a 600-watt inverter to power devices. This system ensures the operation of backup refrigeration equipment around the clock, 365 days a year, completely independent of the grid. Under normal conditions, the batteries typically discharge only 25 to 30% overnight and are fully charged by midday. Even on cloudy days, the system has enough stored energy to operate for several days without sunlight. This is what a typical day looks like with this system. With the sunrise at around 7 in the morning, the solar panels begin to generate electricity. By 9 in the morning, they generate enough energy to power household appliances and begin charging batteries. Maximum energy production occurs from 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon when the sun is at its zenith. During these 4 hours, you receive 300 to 400 watts continuously, enough to power devices and pump energy back into the batteries. By sunset, your batteries are usually charged to 95%, ready for the next night's work. Even on cloudy days, you get 30 to 50% of the nominal solar output, which is usually enough to meet needs or slightly charge batteries. Solar systems operate differently throughout the year, and understanding these changes helps you design a system that will reliably function under any conditions. Summer performance is excellent, long days, intense sunlight, and minimal weather disruptions. Usually, you receive between 120 to 150% of daily energy needs, storing excess energy in batteries for less favorable conditions. Winter is more complicated, especially in northern regions. Short days, low angles of sunlight, and frequent clouds can reduce solar production to 40 to 60% of summer levels. That is why it is important to increase the size of your solar installation and battery bank for reliability throughout the year. Spring and autumn are usually perfect, good angles of sunlight, moderate temperatures that enhance the efficiency of solar panels, and fewer storms than in summer or winter. The actual performance of these systems consistently exceeds expectations, and I have data from numerous installations to confirm this. The owners report that their backup devices operate continuously without intervention, and they often forget they are not connected to the power grid until they check the monitoring system. The reliability is impressive as long as all components are properly selected and installed. Even 2 solar panels instead of 3 work well in sunny regions like Arizona, Nevada, or Southern California, providing enough reserve for seasonal fluctuations in sunlight. In cloudier regions like the Pacific Northwest, 3 panels provide better performance throughout the year. One family in Michigan uses this system even in harsh winters with minimal sunlight. Their secret? They added a small wind turbine that generates energy during winter storms when solar production is low. The combination of solar and wind energy provides remarkably stable electricity production. From a safety perspective, proper installation is crucial but not complicated. It's not rocket science, but cutting corners on safety can lead to serious risks. All connections must be properly secured to prevent fires in case of short circuits. Use fuses or automatic circuit breakers of the appropriate class on both the positive and negative sides of all main connections. Battery terminals should be protected with insulating covers to avoid accidental contact and possible short circuits. The inverter must be installed in a well-ventilated place to prevent overheating. These devices generate heat during operation, and adequate airflow is necessary for reliability and longevity. Never install an inverter in a completely enclosed space without ventilation. Solar panels must be securely fastened to withstand wind loads. If installing them on a roof, use appropriate mounting hardware designed for your roof type. Systems installed on the ground require concrete bases or heavy ballast blocks to prevent movement during storms. The wiring between components must use appropriately sized cables suitable for the current level. Insufficiently thick wiring causes voltage drop, reduces efficiency, and may create a fire risk. If in doubt, choose a thicker cable. Additional costs will be minimal, while performance improvement will be significant. These are the basic rules of electrical safety that anyone who can work with their hands can follow. If you are unsure of your abilities, hire a professional for the initial setup. Most electricians can install such a system in 4 to 6 hours, and the peace of mind is worth the cost. Modern solar charge controllers and battery monitors provide excellent visibility of the system's operation. You can track solar energy production, battery charge levels, and energy consumption of devices in real time. Many controllers have smartphone apps that allow you to monitor your system remotely. You will receive notifications if the battery charge level drops below a certain value, solar energy production is below expected, or loads exceed the norm. This remote monitoring is extremely valuable for early problem detection. Maintenance requirements are minimal but important. Clean the solar panels monthly to maintain maximum efficiency. Dust and debris can reduce output by 10 to 20%. Check the battery connections quarterly to ensure they are secure and free of corrosion. Inspect the wiring annually for damage or wear. The modular structure of these systems allows you not to invest all your funds at once, and you can increase capacity as your needs or budget change. Even with modest solar power, you can keep refrigerators running for weeks or months. The beauty of this approach lies in its resilience. If one battery fails, you still have backup power. If charging conditions are poor one day, you have spare power to handle the situation. For those who want maximum reliability and daily convenience, it is worth seriously considering the installation of a permanent solar system. A typical configuration includes 2 lithium batteries with a capacity of 100 amp-hours, 3 solar panels with a power of 100 watts each, a charge controller to manage the solar input, and a 600-watt inverter to power devices. This system ensures the operation of your backup refrigerator around the clock, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, completely independent of the power grid. During normal operation, batteries usually discharge by only 25 to 30% overnight and fully recharge by midday. Even in cloudy weather, there is enough stored energy to power the system for several days without sunlight. The actual performance indicators of these systems constantly exceed expectations. Owners note that their backup devices operate continuously without any intervention, and they often forget that they are not connected to the network until they check the monitoring system. Even 2 solar panels instead of 3 work perfectly in sunny regions, providing enough reserve for seasonal fluctuations in sunlight. The systems are surprisingly reliable and resilient if installed correctly. From a safety perspective, proper installation is crucial, but not difficult. All connections must be properly protected by fuses to prevent the risk of fire in case of a short circuit. The battery terminals should be covered to avoid accidental contact, and the inverter should be installed in a well-ventilated place to prevent overheating. Let's talk about the real economy, as these investments are justified even without considering preparedness for emergencies. The cost of the system: a compact freezer from $200 to $250, a mini fridge from $120 to $180, a lithium-ion battery with 100 amp-hours from $250 to $350, a 600-watt inverter from $60 to $100, a basic solar setup from $150 to $250. The total investment amounts to between $780 and $1,130, depending on the components. The average family loses hundreds of dollars on spoiled food each year due to spoilage and power outages. This system completely eliminates these losses, bringing additional benefits. Increased capacity allows for bulk purchasing when meat is sold at a discount, often saving between $100 to $200 a month on groceries. Improved organization of food storage reduces waste and enhances meal planning efficiency. Many families find that the system pays for itself within the first year by optimizing product management and avoiding waste, and then continues to provide benefits for another 10 to 15 years. There is no need to rush into buying everything at once. Even a mini fridge with a portable power station will significantly change the situation compared to the absence of backup cooling. Set the system according to your needs, space, and budget. But do not let the pursuit of perfection interfere with the good. Any backup cooling is better than none, and constant backup cooling is significantly more effective than systems that turn on and off. When planning your cooling system, consider your family's specific needs. How many cooled medications do you need to store? Which products are the most expensive or difficult to replace? How long do power outages usually last in your area? These factors will help you make decisions about the sizes of appliances, battery capacity, and charging systems. Remember, it's not just about surviving in emergencies. It's about thriving in those moments. When disaster strikes, you will have cold drinks, fresh food, and the confidence that your family's nutrition and health will not suffer. While others make desperate runs to the store for ice or throw away spoiled food, you will enjoy regular meals and feel confident in your preparedness. Investments in backup refrigeration equipment are yielding daily benefits today due to improved food storage, better meal planning, and the peace of mind that comes from true preparedness. When the next power outage occurs in your area, you will be the one helping your neighbors while staying comfortable and well fed. This is the power of thinking beyond traditional advice for emergency preparedness and creating systems that truly work in the real world. Your backup refrigeration unit is not just equipment for emergencies. This improvement in lifestyle proves incredibly valuable when something goes wrong. The best time to install this system was before the last outage. The second best time is right now. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video where we will discuss backup power for important medical equipment. Be prepared, stay comfortable, and remember, a little planning today means much more peace of mind tomorrow.